Have you ever finished a breastfeeding session and immediately thought, is my baby actually getting anything? Because here's the deal. Just because your baby is sucking doesn't mean they're actually swallowing. I don't know if you're like me, but as a type A mom, this was really hard for me. In the next 5 minutes, I want to tell you how you know your baby is actually sucking and swallowing, and 3 things I look for in every breastfeeding assessment. I am recording in Boulder, Colorado with my crazy nails and my lion in the background, and we are here just doing our best. So please stick with me because I want to help you understand how you know if your baby is actually getting milk in a breastfeeding session. The first thing I want you to do is listen for swallowing. This is one of those things where when I was a first-time mom, it was actually really challenging to hear, but now that I've listened to it thousands of times, I can tell you pretty much exactly how your baby's eating, especially in those early days. What we're listening for is a sound that sounds like a soft K. So k. That's what swallowing actually sounds like. So at the beginning of a feed, your baby is often sucking pretty vigorously. They're going suck, 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 suck. And what this does is it pulls the nipple and triggers letdown to happen. Then the letdown happens and your baby often goes to a pattern that is suck, swallow, or suck, suck, swallow. Suck, suck, swallow. Both of these would be considered normal. Your baby will likely do this suck, swallow pattern in a burst and then take a natural pause. But our hope is that the pause is, a few seconds and not something like 30 seconds, 40 seconds, where you're like, are you actually awake? Your baby should stay active for most of the feed. So if your baby is falling asleep immediately, you want to do whatever you can to stimulate them to actually get them to continue the suck swallow pattern. Sometimes this means doing some compressions, massaging in your armpit where you do have some milk to help them get the milk that they need. Second thing that I want you to do is watch your baby's jaw and watch your baby's throat. So we have a tendency to really focus on the latch, which is important because that's what keeps us comfortable. That's what helps baby transfer milk better. And if you're having issues with that, I have a video on that I will link. I want you to actually look at the jaw, the chin, and the throat to see, is your baby swallowing? You can kind of see this little pause, and then the swallow usually is in conjunction with this soft K too. So it's sort of the whole picture of the sound and the visual. Third thing that I want you to do is pay attention to your baby's body throughout the feed. Oftentimes when babies start a feed, their hands are up in balls around their mouth. Sometimes they'll be around the breast. That's great because it helps stabilize. As the feed goes on, they kind of relax a little bit. So their arms might get a little bit looser. Their hands might open a little bit. They overall look a lot less tense. That is one good way to tell that your baby is actually getting milk during the feed. There are other important signs to look for to know your baby is getting enough to eat that are outside of the feeds. So one, we are looking for wet and dirty diapers for every day of life that they are. We want to make sure that babies aren't falling asleep immediately after starting to suck. So if your baby is latched on, they're sucking and swallowing, and then they fall asleep, and then you're spending 45 minutes actually trying to get them to eat, they might not be getting enough, and that'll actually tell your supply to decrease because they're not removing milk. The other things that we want to look for are their color. So are they getting yellower or is the yellow going away? And then are they actually having these wakeful periods? Babies are very, very sleepy, but they should have enough energy to really sustain a feed and maybe have a little bit of wakefulness in between feeds. If you have any concerns that your baby is not getting enough milk, go see a lactation consultant. Go see your pediatric provider. They will do a weight check to see if your baby is actually gaining enough to sustain feeds in the future. And if not, they're going to figure out a plan of making sure your baby is getting enough calories. It is never the wrong idea if you have any suspicion, maybe your milk is taking a little bit longer to come in, or it seems like your baby is just falling asleep immediately at the breast. It is never the wrong idea to have a professional help you out and come up with a plan. If you have any questions on latch or what's the best position or how to get started with breastfeeding, make sure to watch the videos that I have in the description. Make sure to hit subscribe. Bye-bye.